swing and a drive. Right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawly Jean.
You are listening to the Fly the W podcast. We are part of the Blue Wire Network. Don't forget to listen, download, review, and subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Leave those 5-star reviews. You can email me at crawlysclubhouse@gmail.com. And hopefully you're watching this on Crawly's Clubhouse YouTube page. Joining me, our old friend, Alex Cohen. Alex, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Crawly. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Well, you know, I'm trying to think back. You have had a pretty unbelievable season. And I know that, you know, a lot of times when minor leaguers get called up to the big leagues, you know, the manager kind of beats around the bush and talks serious. And then all of a sudden they find out. What was it like for you to find out, you know, because look, I mean, you did a great job in Iowa. We visited you at Des Moines, the Iowa Cubs. We love the Cubs. Everything's great there. But obviously, the dream of every broadcaster is to be able to broadcast major league games. When did you find out that you were going to be part of the Marquee Network?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lengthy process. Started doing spring training games in 2023. Did some spring training games in 2024. And then I was actually in Chicago June of 2024. We were in the middle of 2 road trips with Iowa. I think it was Indianapolis and Columbus. And like I would do during the off days, I would come in and, try to spend it in Chicago and watch baseball at Wrigley Field. So I was there. I got a text message from one of the bosses at Marquee, Nick Steger, saying, hey, come on in. Let's just shoot the biz for a little bit. So I went into his office and we were just chatting. And he's like, we got some good things, going on in the next couple months. I'm like, what do you got going on? He's like, well, like you making your big league debut. It's like, oh, all right. Like that's pretty neat. Am I getting punked? Are there cameras here? And that was in June. I made my big league debut July 14, 2024. That was at Busch Stadium. It was Cubs Cardinals. Cubs hit 6 home runs and they won. Then July 19th, it was Cubs Diamondbacks at Wrigley Field. And it was, despite the loss, a really special environment and a really special experience for me.
And you also got to call a no-hitter for Shota Imanaga, a game I was supposed to be at. And I couldn't make it last second. So
Priorities. Priorities.
Oh my God. So, we talked, you and we talked during Cubs convention and, look at you all. You can get dustied up. Look at that. Look at how handsome you look there.
Man, I look a lot more handsome there than now. What happened to the year? It's a stress, man.
Well, was it stress because you were back out there for spring training and you were now going to be calling every Sunday for Marquee? Obviously, Bukshiambi, the normal broadcaster, is going to go and do the ESPN Game of the Week on radio, which he's great at. But that kind of opened up, a seat for you to kind of do that. And how excited were you to have that opportunity to be the everyday guy, to kind of have a regular gig as far as Sundays are concerned?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Just being able to relocate to Chicago. I mean, everything that I was doing to that point was on a fill-in basis. And after the fill-in opportunities in 2024 and calling the no-hitter, they essentially said if you are 4 miles away, you will get more calls and more opportunities than if you're 4 hours away. And that's why you work in minor league baseball for 15 years is for a call like that. So relocated to Chicago, and they told me that y'all do anywhere between 20, 25, 30 games when Boog is doing Sunday Night Baseball, when Boog has other commitments. And that was enough for me, being able to do spring training games and then going out to Japan and then, doing some series in April and May when Boog was taking care of his health. And then, going back to the Sunday slate during the summer. Like I couldn't imagine a better season.
Well, I mean, what an incredible start to your full-time Cubs career in a trip to Japan.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I wanted to go so bad. I couldn't make it work with work. I know priorities, but got to pay the bills, right? Got to keep the lights on.
Right.
But boy, oh boy, that trip to Japan. And I don't know if people don't know Scotty Shagon, photographer for Marquee and all this stuff. You guys have a little bit of a similarity. You guys kind of look alike. And just
do we? Like our similar haircuts and facial hair, just general disposition. You don't say.
I'm just telling you, I would have paid to see you guys in Japan. That looked like a lot of fun. Tell our listeners a little bit about. I mean, I'm gonna guess you've never been to Japan prior to this
Well,
trip.
I was actually in Japan in 2019. I was broadcasting international baseball out there for the World Baseball Softball Confederation. So it wasn't my first rodeo out there, but definitely a different type of trip when you're traveling with a big league team and you're traveling on the big league charter, and you're walking around and you see pictures and billboards and signs on buildings of Shohei Ohtani, and you're playing Shohei Ohtani, for 2 games in a couple days. I mean, it was madness out there. I mean, it was a week-long trip of 2 exhibition games and 2 regular season games, and game 1, pitch 1, Shota against Shohei, and it just doesn't get much bigger and better than that. It was a special trip. It was one that went by really quickly, and one that still feels like, it was a day ago, but also a decade ago.
Now, when you're there, did you kind of get a feeling that created an incredible bonding experience for the players? Because
100%.
obviously, yeah,
100%. Yeah.
When we, when the season ended, all these players talked about how much they cared about each other and the way that group kind of did it. And I just kind of got a feeling those type of trips really kind of get to know people. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. When you have a 10-hour trip and a 12-hour trip, depending on what direction the wind's blowing, and you're staying in a foreign country where, I mean, there's some foreign countries where they really do speak English. In Japan, they don't. So you're kind of on an island by yourself, and you're trying to figure out the transit system, and you're trying to, figure out like what places your family wants to go to while you're at practice and you're at the game. So it was an incredible bonding experience for the staff, for the players, and you could see that relationships are being formed and made throughout that time.
Now, you also had a couple other really cool experiences. One I want to hit on was being able to call a game from the Yeti Yard with Cliff Floyd.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, obviously, if you've been to Wrigley Field and been to the broadcasting booth, you're overlooking Lake Michigan. It's just a completely different perspective. Now, I've been in that area before, not specifically the Yeti Yard since it's been there, but that general area. What was it like calling a game from center field?
It was awesome. I mean, credit to the Yeti, to the company and the sponsorship there, and Marquee for putting that on and having that idea. And obviously, like, it's a different viewpoint. Like, you're calling balls and strikes from 420 feet away, and it's not something that I think that I would want to do every single game, but like once a year, twice a year, every month throughout the summer. Like, it's special just being out there with the fans and hearing people catcall Cliff Floyd while I'm calling a 2-2 pitch. Like, it was a lot of fun. And the fact that they played the Braves and won that game, and you can hear "Go Cubs Go" from that vantage point. You look to your right and you look to your left, and it's just people in the bleachers and beer snakes and fun. I mean, it was sensory overload there. It was a pretty special broadcast. I loved it.
Now, I've gotten to know you over the years, but obviously first through social media, right? Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it becomes interesting because we meet each other on social media, but then when you kind of get into the real life thing, right? There are the people that are always on social media, but there's also people that are always at the game. What was it like for you to really spend that full season enveloped in this Cub culture that people don't realize is around the ballpark all the time? And when you're talking about like Sam Bernero, or you're talking about, Mai Tai or Bleacher Jeff, or, just the whole Captain Cubbo, whoever, but that the people that you get to know over a season, what was that like for you to kind of be part of that Cub culture?
It was so important to be able to provide that context to what is all the Chicago Cubs fan base, the Venn diagram of Cubs fans. I mean, you have like the rabid Cubs fans, you have the kid Cubs fans, you have the bloggers, and you have everybody. You have that little piece in the middle that everybody has like a common goal of singing "Go Cubs Go" and seeing the Cubs win and go to the playoffs and win playoff series. So it was really important for me, coming from Iowa for 7 years, to be in Chicago for the entire season and go to games that I wasn't broadcasting and sit in the stands and drink beers and go to Murphy's and do all that with Cubs fans and being immersed in the Cubs culture, the Chicago Cubs culture, not just the Iowa Cubs culture, not just the minor league people, not just the minor league fans, like everything. Like, it was all encompassing Cubs centric, 2025 summer, and I loved it.
And you didn't completely cut off your roots with Iowa. You were at the corner tap room for the mozzarella stick challenge, right?
I did, love my trip to Cascade, Iowa, and the corner tap room. I mean, it definitely, raised my cholesterol a little bit with 8 mozzarella sticks in a span of 2.5 innings. But just being able to do stuff like that, again, Marquee giving us the creative opportunities to go to places like Japan and Cascade, but also being able to tell a story. And like, there is a baseball story, there is a personal story that goes along with those places and other places. Just being able to being given the creative latitude to go do stuff like that was pretty fun. I got to give Marquee all the credit for that.
Now, how easy was the transition for you this year? Because you got to know a lot of the players went through their time in Iowa, whether you're talking about PCA or Moball or Owen Casey, Daniel Palencia. How much did that kind of make your job a little bit easier because you know these guys' strengths, you know what they like, their tendencies, and it's a familiar face when you go into work?
All the above. I mean, it was definitely it was important for me to be able to latch onto those relationships, especially early on. The familiarity. Like, you call a game from the Tokyo Dome, you call a game at Wrigley Field, it's unfamiliar territory. So you're trying to latch onto things that, okay, like, this does make sense. And seeing Pete Crow Armstrong roam center field makes sense. And seeing Mo Baller step in from the left side and make hard contact makes sense. So it was really nice to see those faces, but also like the Nico Horners and the Ian Happs. And I was in Iowa for 7 years. So seeing those familiar faces and seeing Daniel Palencia throw 101 mile per hour fastballs in the big leagues, like, okay, like, this makes sense to me. I've seen this before.
Now, we talked a little bit about you and Cliff at the Yeti. That looked like an absolute blast. And obviously you did a lot of work with JD. Is there like a camaraderie between everybody as far as the booth is concerned? And, I know that, Miguel Esparza and Jorge Moreno are up there. I'm sure you probably talked to Boog and Ron and Pat Hughes. Like, how much do you try to like learn and absorb from all the different people that you meet when you're up here in Chicago?
Every day. I mean, it is talking to Boog and JD and Demp and Cliff and Joe Girardi when it was with Marquee last year, and Elise and Taylor, and then going on to the radio side. I mean, you talked about Pat Hughes, Hall of Famer, Ron Coomer, one of the best. Zach Zaidman does a great job, and then the Spanish broadcasters. I mean, you fly on the team planes with them. You're in the hotel with them. You're dealing with the same summer, the same parts of life with them when it comes to that. So. And they've seen a lot more of that from a big league standpoint than I have. So it would be not smart of me not to seek them out for advice and tutelage and just seeing what they do on a day-to-day standpoint. So, with everybody from Marquee and the score side, like, it was really, really nice to be able to get to know them over the course of the year and see what they do and try to emulate that.
Now, one of my favorite shows on Marquee is Road to Wrigley. Obviously, there's Elise and Lance and Jim and all of that. It really, truly is a fun show. What other things besides calling games did you really enjoy doing for Marquee?
Yeah, the content side. We were able to provide like a lot of app exclusive content, on the Marquee Sports Network app, and again, getting that creative flexibility to do so. Being able to take the trip to Anaheim and you'll have Elise and my wife go surfing at a lesson and be able to like put together a video of that. It is being in Cincinnati with Scotty and doing the Taste of Cincinnati challenge of Skyline Chili and powdered donuts and everything that would also raise my cholesterol. It is going to Miami and trying a Cubano in Little Havana, just being able to call baseball, but also do things that are outside of baseball that bring the baseball experience together. Like, I know that it's a lot of baseball, but these cities and these places have different characteristics than Chicago does, especially during the summer. So to make sure that the fans can kind of get a glimpse of that and those fan bases and those places. So, a lot of app exclusive content, a lot of Road to Wrigley stuff, and then the Cubs Daily podcast. Being able to still talk Cubs baseball, but more of a long form story standpoint. It's something that I hadn't done that much of before, but at the end of the day, it's talking baseball. So being able to tell those stories day to day, not from a play-by-play perspective, but just things on, Cade Horton putting together one of the best second halves from a pitcher that we've seen for the Cubs in quite some time. Well, how historic is it? We'll tell you. So it was really nice to talk about the Cubs from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have on social media, you have the voice of Cohen too, just in case anyone's wondering.
Now, voice of Cohen got hacked. Thank you, Elon. Appreciate it. But yes, voice of Cohen too.
You keep a pretty even keel in trying to get people to kind of understand, not to be so reactionary, right? Like not to be so reactionary, which as Cub fans, we are guilty of, and sometimes I tell people it's not like football where you live and die with every game. You got to kind of take a long view of things. You keep a good social media presence and you do try to kind of talk some people off the ledge sometimes. I know you're not always successful, but hey, you're out there fighting the good fight, right?
I mean, also, like, I'm being myself. Like, I'm not just trying to, like, portray a narrative. This is me talking. Like, this is how I view baseball. This is 15 years of being in professional baseball. It's being in clubhouses. It's talking to front office members and seeing how they think and how they view a 162-game season. But also being a fan and caring about baseball and seeing, like, what the other side thinks, how they live and die by every game and every pitch. So, again, we talk about that Venn diagram. It's the players, it's the coaches, it's the front office, it's the fans, it's the people watching. You bring those circles together, there's a middle ground there. So it's for me to be able to find that middle ground and to be able to communicate that middle ground. I get to broadcast baseball. I get to work for an organization and a television network, but I also love baseball and I'm also a fan first. So I have to be responsible for blending those two together.
No, I got to say, you've been signed for 1 year, full year. And the very first year you're there, Marquee's been around since 2020. Very first year of their year, they make the postseason.
1 for 1, baby.
I'm not saying you're lucky. I'm just saying we'll take a look. We're going to have Lance look at the numbers on that one. But what was it like for you to experience Wrigley playoff baseball in that kind of atmosphere?
It was the best. It was the best. Like I wasn't around for 2016. So being able to watch a home playoff game at Wrigley Field, watch them win a playoff series at Wrigley Field, it was deafening. Like the hair on my arm still sticks up. Definitely not the hair on my head, but the hair on my arms. There's no better place than Wrigley Field to watch baseball games. I'm not just saying that as somebody who works for the Cubs. I'm not just saying that as somebody who lives in the city of Chicago. I'm saying that as somebody who's watched a lot of baseball, cares deeply about the game and the profound feeling that you get hearing Go Cubs Go in a playoff game, in a big game, a walk-off. There's no better feeling.
I got to tell you, I've been to every Cubs postseason game in the 2000s, except for Game 4 of the World Series, which wasn't that great anyway. That Game 4 against Milwaukee, to bring it back to Milwaukee, was, I told people, a top 3 postseason moment as far as electricity in the crowd that night. There's no way. I mean, you guys do such a good job of trying to describe it, but unless you're there, it's otherworldly and it's intoxicating. It really truly is.
Yeah, I think Game 4 of the Brewer series, and then Game 3 of the wild card too. Like the fact that you have like a season deciding game. The feeling during that 9th inning was profound. It was something that I'll never forget.
And you had to, I'm sure you heard plenty of positive comments, but how much did it mean to you to kind of have so much of Cub fans really enjoying hearing your call?
Better than not enjoying my call. No, it was hearing the feedback is great. But just seeing like the impact that calling the game has on Cubs fans. I mean, I remember doing my first Cubs game at Busch Stadium, and I was told the advice, like, it's the same game, different stadium. It's the same play, just a different auditorium. And with all due respect to that advice, that's a load of crap, because calling a game at Wrigley Field is different. Calling a Cubs win at Wrigley Field, when you let the crowd noise take over and you let the game breathe and you're able to communicate that story and communicate that atmosphere, it's special. So just to hear that it impacted somebody positively, people positively, like, it makes the job that much more rewarding.
Alex, I tell people all the time, I think Cub fans don't realize how lucky we have it, that we have just amazing options for listening to baseball, whether it's through Marquee or 670 The Score or the Spanish broadcast. Sometimes you're lucky if you just get one of those. in a baseball city.
Yeah.
But I think here with Wrigley Field and the Cubs, we have the best of the best. And I can speak for myself, and I know a whole bunch more Cub fans that are just so happy to have you as a part of that team and enjoy hearing your calls on Sunday, my friend.
No, that's really kind of you. And you hit the nail on the head. Like on the radio side, you get to listen to a Hall of Famer with Coom and Zach. You get to listen to Boog, who, just broadcasts the World Series on ESPN. Like he's one of the best baseball broadcasters. He's on Mount Rushmore to me. He ain't number 4. And being able to hear him do it with JD and Cliff and Demp and Elise, it's just an awesome team. And you brought up the Spanish broadcasters, and I can listen to Miguel broadcast paint drying, let alone baseball or singing the 7th inning stretch. I mean, it's just a great team to be a part of, and it's a great team to broadcast baseball for. So I think Cubs fans, hopefully they enjoy it. Hopefully they don't take it for granted, and fortunately, there'll be baseball in 2026, and we'll be able to call it. So
100%. Alex, tell our listeners where they can find your work, where they can listen, where they can interact with you.
Yeah, sure. They can watch on Marquee Sports Network. They can download the Marquee Sports Network app and view all of the app exclusive digital content. You can follow me on X, Voice of Cohen 2, not Voice of Cohen. Again, got hacked. But Voice of Cohen 2. And yeah, just follow me along with that. And as you said, like I like to try to keep the peace. I'm also very active on social media, much to the demise of my wife's patience. So, I like communicating. Like at the end of the day, like just talking baseball. Like I'm one of you guys. I just get to do it for a living. I'm very fortunate to do it.
You're a lucky man. You're a blessed man, and we're lucky to have you, Alex. Thank you so much for jumping on, and we'll talk again in the future. All right.
Thanks for having me on, Crawly. Appreciate it. Go Cubs, go.
It's all over.